We're now about to go live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You're listening to 107.5 WSFD-LP, Westfield Community Radio in Westfield, Mass.
There we go. Good morning, Westfield. It is 6 o'clock. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. I am back after a 2-week hiatus. And during that time, our producer, our chief engineer, Pete Coles, got married. So congratulations,
Thank you.
Pete.
Thank you.
Yeah, so big doings, and
Been a little crazy over the past couple of weeks.
It was, you know what, Pete, and it's been a wild couple of weeks. I think for both of us in very different ways, obviously, but a lot has happened, Pete, even since I saw you on Sunday. So you know,
really?
oh yeah, we have plenty to talk about. So first of all, congratulations, and so let's tell our viewing audience, because you and your wife Christy did this, a little unconventionally.
Yeah.
So this was a second marriage for both of you.
Yeah,
so,
we sort of eloped.
Yeah, you kind of eloped. We
let
knew
everybody
about
know.
it.
It's not- yeah, it's
it
not
wasn't
like
a secret elopement, but
Right.
yeah.
Right. And then we were like, well, if people want to come, and then it was like herding cats. We're like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then we were planning on having a party back here anyways, no matter what. Because destination weddings are expensive, and it's only gotten worse.
They are. It's
only gotten worse. So,
and you know what? I appreciate the fact that I've had friends that have done destination weddings and seriously and truly have expected like all of their friends to go down
Right.
to wherever they are. Usually it's, someplace warmer, the islands or whatever. And it's like, we've got families and responsibilities and jobs, and sometimes it's the money, and sometimes it's just the timing. It's like
Right.
I can't take off from work on the weekend that you happen to be.
well, and for us, it was
this.
the timing for
Yeah.
family, even for family. Like,
Yeah.
Christy's daughter was just beginning. She's in a play, and she's
Yeah.
in the play.
Yeah.
And then she couldn't even come to the party because of tech.
Well, that was funny because I thought to myself, well, yeah, I thought
I was a
about
little
that
upset
later.
about
I was
that
like,
because-
whoa, what happened?
Had she actually probably gone and asked the producer, director,
Yeah.
at the beginning of Tech Week, she probably could have got some time off. But I think that she's so happy that she got a role finally
Yeah.
that she didn't want to jinx it or whatever.
Yeah,
But I
didn't
was
wanna
a
rock
little
the
upset
boat.
about that.
Yep.
I wasn't happy about that.
Yep.
And I know Christy was, even though she wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
But just to get us to the wedding, so we rented a bigger cabin because just in case.
So you got married down in Tennessee.
Yeah,
right?
Pigeon Forge,
Yep.
Tennessee. And so we rented a cabin that could sleep up to 8 just in case.
Okay.
But my brother came into tickets for a Notre Dame football game
Okay.
with some old neighbors of his that said, hey, you want to go type
Mm-hmm.
thing? Two couples going to a Notre Dame game. And then my mom was watching the dog for my brother. Timmy and Anna got a new dog, and they were supposed to watch Hawk, our dog.
Yep.
And Hawk developed a cough, got a cold right before we left. So we had to tap in Rick and Michelle's son, John,
Okay.
who came over a lot
Okay.
while we were away. Slept over a couple nights with Hawk so he wouldn't be alone. And just crazy. We couldn't get anybody to go.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, everybody was tied up.
Yep.
So we ended up going and having a good time on our own.
Yeah, that's perfect. Now, the actual wedding, where did the actual wedding take place?
The Wedding Bell Chapel.
Okay.
Just outside of town.
I
It
mean,
was
Pete,
weird
it
'cause it was
looks
like back
it looks,
roads.
It looks like something out of like a Christmas card. I mean, it's just, you sent me that picture, and I was like, oh my God, this place is adorable.
Right. And it's a guy who's been there, moved there from Indiana, been there for like, he said 30, been doing it for 34 years.
Wow.
Right. So he goes, I've been through like five county clerks, and he goes, the latest one wanted to hire me because she didn't have a lot of experience, didn't come from the office. It wasn't an internal hire, and she didn't know what she was doing.
Oh.
And he's like, I don't want to get involved in government.
Yeah. No. I
We had a
do
great
this.
chat. Turns out the
yeah.
guy worked. In local politics.
Okay.
And
No, was he like a justice of the peace, or was
minister.
he a minister? Okay,
Yeah,
he was
both,
minister. Okay,
both.
yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But he ended up running Mike Pence's campaign for governor in Indiana.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
He's like, that's when I got out of politics, and that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. And
yep.
but it was like talking to this guy was fascinating.
Interesting.
Absolutely fascinating.
Interesting.
And apparently he wasn't so super busy because I talked to him for like 45 minutes before. Christy wanted to get changed there.
Okay. Yep.
And then we went and took pictures out in the wilderness. I mean, the wilderness of Tennessee.
So who actually took the pictures?
I brought a camera that I could remote control from my phone.
Oh, that's hilarious. Only, Pete, I love it. I just love it.
Yeah. He took pictures. The minister, we got 5 pictures with our package.
Nice.
And he took them in the chapel.
Nice.
And then I took the rest of the pictures.
Nice. I love it. I love it. And so, and now how long were you guys actually down in Tennessee?
We were there for a week. So
Okay.
we got there on a Wednesday. We got married on a Saturday, and we were left by the following Wednesday. So it was kind of like getting the stuff we needed.
Yep.
Because we didn't want to rush.
Yep.
And then getting married, and then having a couple days of a mini honeymoon type
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And then we all got to celebrate this past Saturday.
Right, 1
in
week
Connecticut.
post, yep.
1 week post. And I was so happy that you had so many from our WSFD family, WCPC family that were there.
Yep.
That was fun.
A couple that couldn't show up.
Yeah, and that was disappointing, and I think it was disappointing for them. I know
Yeah,
they wanted
yeah.
to be there. It wasn't, But yep. But Bob and James were there. Rick Barry was welcoming us at the door, giving us our
put him to
drink
work,
tickets.
yes.
You did, and then I helped him.
Actually, Rick and Michelle and Jolene and Marianne, 2 of Christy's friends and 2 of my friends,
Okay.
did a lot of the decorating.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression because I sat next to Michelle because Rick had said to me, because I was by myself, and he said, "Oh, do you need a place to sit at our table?" And I said, "Oh, thank you, that'd be great." So I did. So I sat next to him, and then and Michael Buster McMahon was there.
Yeah, with his wife Karen.
With his wife Karen, so that was really great. And Karen's dance studio, I had never met her before. And her dance studio is in West Springfield. So, we had a lot to talk about with West Springfield
Yep,
politics and so forth, since that's where I live. That was a nice table. And then I guess Michelle's son.
Jonathan and
Yes,
his
so they
girlfriend, Emmy.
came later.
Yep.
A little bit later.
He thought it was in Westfield, I think. A couple of people thought it was in Westfield,
Oh.
including Bob Plass.
Oh, dear Lord.
And then they programmed it, and he goes, I read the invitation, and I knew it wasn't. And then
Yeah.
he said, I programmed in the address of the GPS and goes, oh, crap, we're going to be late.
Like really late.
Right.
I have to say that was, and Harry and Ann Rock, they were at our table.
Yeah.
Well, I had tried to coordinate with Harry going down, so I didn't have to drive down by myself. But it turned out, how weird is this? So Ann's twins,
yeah.
you knew that, but Ann's twin sister lives 2 blocks from the venue where we had the reception.
And Ann and her sister grew up
Yeah.
right around the corner
Like
from
right
where
there.
Christy used to live.
Right. That is so wild to me. So anyway, Harry had said to me, "You're welcome to come down with us, but then we're doing a family thing with Ann's side, but I'm sure there'll
Right.
be other people and you can get a ride back." Well, I wasn't really sure, and I was so tied up with trying to plan for the 10-year anniversary over at the senior center. I said to Harry, "You know what? Thank you, Pete, for making this like an afternoon thing." Because I
Right.
said, we'll be done. It'll still be light out. That was my only thing. I was like, if I'm
I
by
actually
myself, I hate
prefer-
to, I don't want to be
But
driving at night.
both of my parties have been afternoon
Yeah, that was great.
because I'd rather not be out of there super late.
Yeah, it worked out great. It was from 1 to 5. So,
Yep.
I left a few minutes early because Gary said to me, "Well, what are you, what are you going to be doing?" I said, "Honestly, I was at the senior center all morning working on the 10-year anniversary thing."
Yep.
I said, "I'm going to Pete." So I said, "It really depends on if I still have things to do," which I did because I hadn't even started my speech yet. I said, "Then I'll go back," because I said, "Pete's, the affair ends, late afternoon, so it'll be fine." So that's what I did. I went back to the senior center for a couple hours, wrote my speech, did some last minute stuff, and but it was nice because I got to tell you, that drive was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. When I was coming back and going across where the dam is, and
Yeah.
just the trees, and it was like something out of
That's the Barkhamstead
out of a
Reservoir
calendar.
that feeds Hartford.
And Gary and I used to cross that all the time. We used to take part of that route because we used to get on Route 8 in Winston to
Winstead,
head.
yep.
Yeah, in Winsted to head down to
84.
84.
Yep.
We used to take the back way before before we started taking. Now we take the throughway into 287. But
That's what I
we've
do.
we've been all over that. We've been in every kind of direction. But
Mm-hmm.
but we used to take that back way, and that reservoir is just so beautiful. And when I crossed that, and I said that to Harry, like Harry and I were kind of comparing routes. And I said to him, well, I looked at MapQuest and I said, they're offering like 3 different routes. And I said, all of these are looking familiar to me. I said, Gary and I used to do this years ago. I haven't done it in a long time, but I said, I have my GPS. I'll be fine. And it'll be daylight. That was my main thing,
Right.
So
both
I
ways.
said, I'll be fine. Yeah, exactly. Both ways. But
And it is a nice ride
beautiful.
down there. Yeah. Nice ride.
Well,
down there.
I have to tell you, Pete, I was I was really stressed out about this 10-year anniversary thing because there was a lot of stuff that fell on my shoulders. And I wanted to make it nice, obviously. I knew we would have dignitaries there, which we did. But that ride down, by the time I got there, I was just so relaxed. It was just, I put some music on and just, had my GPS and the fall colors and it just such a nice ride. And it was so funny because the ride down, it took like just about an hour. I left from my house because I went to the senior center. And that's right, I had the newsletters too. Saturday was newsletter day, so I had Barbara Martone meeting me, at the crack of dawn to get the newsletters done, so that sorted and everything, so they could be distributed. So yeah. Anyway, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
And we wanted things to be very relaxed, which is how it ended up being.
They were. Everybody was just chilling out and sharing stories and. Harry did a great job of, kind of introducing people, and Bob Plass made a beautiful toast.
Apparently, nobody captured Harry's speech except for 30 seconds that his wife ended up getting. Nobody. We asked everybody.
Michelle didn't, because I know she had her camera going.
Yeah, I think she was taking still pictures.
Okay, all right. And well, you know what? I didn't really.
A couple of people captured Bob's speech because they realized what was going on.
Maybe that's what Michelle, because I think she did get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we pressed Harry into service at the last minute. It was an ask
Well, I
by
saw
Christy.
him over there, conferring with Brady, and I thought originally he was, like requesting some kind of a special song or something, and I was over there thinking, wow, he's there a long time, and in true Harry fashion, he's got his notes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until he started speaking and introducing the family members and all of that I realized, what he was doing.
Yeah,
so
we asked Harry to do the toast, and then he brought Bob up to do the cutting of the cake.
Oh my God! And if you could have heard, I'm standing there next to Rick Barry during that, and Rick and I are looking at each other, going, "Oh my God, who gave Bob the microphone? We could be here. How long does this thing go for? Because Bob, but he did a wonderful job.
Absolutely,
he did a wonderful, wonderful job, and I even got a dance in with James because when you were doing when you did the wedding dance. I went over because I hadn't, because Bob and James came late, so I hadn't gotten over to see them. So I went over to see James, and we started dancing. While we were talking, we started dancing, and so we got our little dance in.
James is a talented dancer.
He is a talented dancer. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. You take, when you're dancing with somebody who's danced on Broadway, could be a little intimidating.
Right.
So James said to me, he goes, Tina, we danced. And I said, I know, and I'm telling my husband that. That was the first thing I said to Gary when I got home. He goes, how was it? He said, did you have a wonderful time? He said, did you see a lot of people from, from the studio? And I said, yes, I did. And I danced with James. And he said, really? And I said, yes. Are you jealous?
I know. I got a message from Zap. His parents have been not doing well, and he had a family medical emergency.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Goff had a medical emergency.
Yeah, we knew that.
And it was like, oh,
I know.
Wow.
I know. Yeah.
I know, but Bobby Goff was probably really bummed because
he
was really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I know Zap was too. So.
Oh, and you know what? That would have been great to have Stefan there. I didn't realize that he was that was a possibility. And I met I actually didn't meet Coach Suter, but I met his wife.
Oh, Allie, they're a hoot. They're an absolute hoot, the two of them.
Yeah, they are. She came up and started talking to Bob and James and me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know who she was, and she was just all over the place. And then
she recognized all of us from the shows.
Yeah, well, I know that. Well, that was the thing.
Because she watches the shows too.
And that was the thing. It was really funny because I'm thinking to myself, this woman's talking to me as if I know her, and I'm thinking, So then she went to sit down, and then came back. And when she went to sit down, I said to Bob, class. I said, who is that? I feel like she feels like she knows me, and I don't know who that is. So he told me. Then she came back for something else, and so we continued the conversation.
Sure, yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, Coach is a really good guy. He's just a fun guy. And they ended up sitting with some of Christy's friends, and they started talking. And
Sure.
my family kind of pushed two tables together, and they pretty much sat together.
Oh, well,
or close to each other.
Well, you know what? I was so glad Harry introduced people because it was partway through, and I went, "Hey, wait a minute. Which one is Pete's mom? I've never met your mom. Of course, we've been talking about her for 11 years on the show, so I feel like I know her." So once he pointed her out, I went and found her after the toast and all of that to introduce myself. And then I was talking to Mom for at least 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we had a great conversation, and she is just she's a sweetheart.
The
so
kids,
that was great.
My mother abhors silence. Absolutely abhors silence.
Okay.
So the kids have found out, and my brother does this. They'll be sitting around the table eating or something, and whatever, and everybody will stop talking, and my mother will just keep going with like this monologue for like 50 minutes. Then she'll finally realize what they did.
Yep.
You all stink. But
Well,
she'll just keep going.
My mother had that reputation too, and the joke in the family was that my mother would talk to a mannequin and not realize she was talking to a mannequin because it'd be it'd be 20 minutes into it before she realized she was getting no response. But a captive audience, so there
Right.
you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so they sat there, and then my cousin Michelle with her boys sat at the table next to them. So,
Okay.
And then there was a lot of Christy's family and friends there too. So
Yep.
some of her family came in from Oregon.
Well, and I didn't know that until like the next day when when you and Christy were there to help me out with my crisis, which we'll talk about that after the break. But yeah, and I did publicly. That was like the first thing I said in my speech, And the two of you got a huge ovation. So
I'm sorry.
No, that was great because the pictures, the photos, that it was just a home run all the way around, and it was so good, Pete. I just let it run through the whole program, all through the speeches, because you know what? Where we had it positioned on the stage, it was really unobtrusive, and it was just people just really enjoyed it. And some people came for the whole thing. Some of the seniors didn't come until short, which I don't blame them. They came for when Sarah played, so they started coming in just before 2:00. And of course, they hadn't seen the photos because we started running those. Well, they were running the whole time after you left. I said, I think
you got through them. Got all the way through them, and when I shut it off, it was 100 into one loop.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of photos.
There were 1,000 photos. Yeah. But we'll talk about that when we come back. Let's take a break. So, of course, Pete, because, these are like three of my favorite wedding songs because Pete got married. So the theme for the first hour is all wedding songs. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial and WCPC cable channel 15. So the first one, the Dixie Cups, going to the Chapel of Love.
Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. We really love you and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel of love. Spring is here, the sky is blue. Whoa, birds are
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
from 6 until at least 7:30.
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show
right here on WSKB 89.5
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
You're listening to 107.5 WSFD-LP Westfield Community Radio in Westfield, Mass.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:22. You are indeed listening to WSFD 107.5 on your dial and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and our chief engineer and our newly married chief engineer, Peter Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
All right. So
and then there was Sunday.
So let's talk a little bit about our 10-year anniversary, Senior Center anniversary open house and Fiddle Fest. So I had been planning this for weeks and weeks, really since the date was set back in January. I mean, that was all set, and I had secured Sarah the Fiddler back in January because you got to book way in advance.
Yeah, sure.
I do really want to shout out to our sponsor for our 10-year anniversary, and that was Jimmy Adams over at First and Adams Funeral Service. I had contacted Jim back in the spring, and I said, I have two big events coming up. Would you like to sponsor either or both? And that was our Senior Options 2025 back in September, and then our 10-year anniversary. And being the generous person that Jimmy is, I said to him one time, I don't think in 20 years that I've worked with Jim, I don't think I've ever asked him for anything that he has said no to me. I mean, he just is just so wonderful. But anyway, I was able to get Sarah the Fiddler thanks to Jim Adams. So I appreciate that so much. So the thought behind all this was that we were going to do, my vision was we were going to have this slideshow as people came in. It was going to be kind of an open house. We kind of had a self-guided tours because for the most part, most of the people that were coming are people who come to the senior center. So they
already know the layout.
Yeah, they know the layout. They don't need, it wasn't like the ribbon cutting. We had a lot of people coming for the first time. So we did a lot of tours. And we did have a couple people who either hadn't been there in a long time or had never been. So we had a few. And Bob O'Brien, who's on our board, did sort of the tour thing. So he was giving people tours and we let people roam around the building. But for the most part, people were coming in, Pete, and I had put together of photos. I had gone through, I probably had 10 years worth of photos. And I calculated I probably had about 4,000 pictures total in 10 years. So I whittled that down to 1,000, labeled them all, put them in order. So that took me over a week to do all of that. It wasn't so much deciding which photos. It was, kind of figuring out dates and what they were and all that, which really I had to do it because nobody, I could look at a setup, the placemats and, the napkins that we used and say, oh yes, that was the Jingle Bell brunch from 2017. For some reason, you talk about useless trivia, Pete, I had it.
Full of, knowledge.
Yeah. But anyway, so got all that done. And I said to our illustrious leader, Mike Squindo, I said, you got one job. You have to be here at noontime to set this up on the computer and start scrolling through it, and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, at the 11th hour, shortly before I walked into your wedding reception, I found out that Mike couldn't be there at noon. He wasn't going to get there until just before the speeches. And, the idea behind the slides was that people would be able to view them as they came in, because the speeches were going to start at around 1:30 or 1:15.
So what I didn't know was the laptop had nothing to do with anything.
Aha.
It was all on the bingo computer.
Aha. Which I didn't know.
Had I known that,
okay, I
would have attacked it differently. I was trying to get the laptop.
Did you talk to Mike when you came back?
Yes.
To your stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
He goes, so it was all on the bingo computer. I said, well, that's what I thought, but there was a laptop out there, and Tina said it was on the laptop. So that's what I was trying to get to.
Well,
and I couldn't get it to log in.
Which I didn't really understand because when we did the dry run, Mike kept saying, I have to have my laptop.
Yeah, I don't.
So I don't
That
know
was the
why.
red herring.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway,
So
So what happened
so
was
you found out.
Yeah. So what happened was, I found out as I'm walking into Pete's reception, and as I'm leaving Pete's reception, and and in my head I'm thinking, okay, who knows how to do this? Because I have no idea. I mean, the pictures are all set. I know where they are. They're on the cloud.
Right.
They're all sorted. But how do I get them from there onto our bingo screen so people can see these? So I asked Pete. Like there I am at his wedding going, hey, can you help me out tomorrow morning? And of course that's when I found out Christy had family in from Oregon.
Right.
And you were going to be doing breakfast.
So I didn't know she booked breakfast with them because she thought I was free. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden she's like, and so there was a little bit of angst there.
Yep.
And so her family's like, oh, well, instead of 9 o'clock, we're going to do 10, and then it was 10:30. So it's like,
Right.
all right, well, we got some running room here.
And then, of course, you called me and said, well,
How early? Yeah,
are you
how
gonna
early
be there?
going to be in, right?
I said, well, I can be here as early as I need to be. But I knew I had to be there by 8:30 anyway because Sarah the Fiddler's husband,
Loaded.
Keith, was coming to set everything up. And I've worked with them before. It's a 3-hour setup. It just takes
Yeah,
them
you
a
gotta
long
load in,
time,
yeah.
which is fine. So I was like, okay, so we all get there early. And thank God for Christy. And you know what?
Well, we tag teamed on it because we wanted to be able to make breakfast.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And you know what? What was really nice for me, though, Pete was downstairs with the screen. Christy and I went upstairs on my computer into my office. And, I really got to know her better because, of course, at your wedding reception, she's busy. She's working the room. And, I didn't really have time to chat. And we've only met each other in person once or twice before. So and she was
Well, I had to run back
awesome.
here.
I know you had to come
And
back.
get an HDMI cable. I had to
know.
open up the school, get an HDMI cable because I didn't have one in the bag.
I know.
And I was like, all right, well, I told her, I'm like, if you can help with that part of it upstairs,
Yep.
then I won't have to waste time doing that, and I can do the other part. And I got it all set up, and then I was just waiting for you guys.
Well, and believe it
to
or not,
copy.
Pete, there was one thing that I actually figured out, like on my own, because Christy couldn't get it done, and we hadn't been able to do it.
Transfer.
We were trying to get it onto a thumb drive, and no, first I was trying to get it onto my hard drive from the cloud, and I said to Christy, I was like, hey, she had started to go back downstairs to tell you we couldn't do it. And I said, hey, Christy, I just did it. She goes, you did? I said, believe it or not, I did it. I did something technologically sound here. So anyway, in the end, Pete, all I can tell you is it was a home run. People loved it. They absolutely loved it. People saw themselves. They saw their friends. They saw people who have passed away because, 10 years ago, we have people that were in those pictures. But they just really enjoyed it. And as I said, it was so funny because when Keith came, when Sarah the Fiddler's husband came, I was like, this area is off limits. Don't go anywhere near it. I don't want anybody tripping over wires. Pete has this set up. And I kept checking, like every 15 minutes I poke my head in. Yep, it was still scrolling. I know.
I brought my tablet into brunch. People were like, what are you doing?
I know.
I'm like, this is an insurance policy.
I know.
If I bring this in, I won't need it.
That's exactly right. It was Murphy's Law because you had it in there, so everything went off without a hitch. So that was like the first thing I announced. And then it was really funny because in my speech, in the body of my speech already written, I had talked a little bit about the differences between Mike Squindo and me. And I said, he's male, I'm female, he's young, I'm older, he's, very tech savvy. I prefer a pad and pen.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody in the front row said, well, he's tall and you're shorter. I said, yep, there you go. And I said, and I'm going to add another one. He tends to fly by the seat of his pants, and I'm a planner, and so of course he's been teasing me about that, since then. And he kind of was a little sheepish during his speech, but anyway, so I thanked the two of you, and everyone really, really was so. I was kind of surprised. It was like you got this big applause. And I think part of that was just because people really appreciated being able to see the photos. So that was great. And then we had some speakers. We had, and you know what? We had people who came that I wasn't sure they were going to be able to make it. So we had sent out, Kathy Millis was my one-person committee with me. And we had sent out invitations to former board members, former mayors. So Brian Sullivan came, and I said to him, oh, my God, you came? He said, well, I got an invitation. And then right behind him was Senator Vilas. And he was supposed to speak, and then I had gotten word from his staff that they weren't sure that he was going to be able to be there. So I said, okay, no worries. If he's there, that's fine. He can say a few words. If he's not, well, so that was really off the cuff. So, but you know, John, I mean, you can just say, hey, John, come on up and say a few words. Well, he told the most hilarious story about calling bingo. And and I had never heard this story before. And then the next day, Mark Messer had office hours, his legislative aide. And I told Mark that. I said, boy, John was just great. And I said, he's off the cuff. And I said, he told this bingo story. And Mark Messer said to me, which bingo story did he tell? And I said, how many bingo stories are there? And he said, oh, there are quite a few bingo stories of John, messing up with bingo at, he told the one where he messed up at our senior center. Mark told me the one where he messed up at the Agawam Senior Center when he first started calling there.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was just great. So, and Dan Knappich, I had asked Dan to come back to give a historical perspective because I asked for a show of hands of how many people, and Dan texted me the next day. He said, I was surprised at how many people were at Sunday's affair who had never been to the old senior center. And that was the whole thing.
I remember working in it from the tech center.
Yeah, and I said to Dan Knappich, I said, but a lot of the people that we have coming to the senior center now, Pete, are newly retired. They're in their 60s and early 70s, and 10 years ago, they were working. They didn't go to the old senior center.
Right.
So
Most people didn't even know it was tucked in there.
Oh, a lot of people didn't know. Hey, listen, when I went on my job interview, I couldn't find it. I mean, I was like, where is this place? And so Dan had kind of given the perspective. And it was interesting because before the whole, all the festivities started, Dan Knappich and Mike McCabe, our current mayor, and I think there were some other people involved in that conversation. We're kind of talking about back when and acquiring the land and Mary Noble's will and how did we get there. And, as Dan said, wow, you forget about some of this stuff. But, we were all sort of piecing it together and Dan brought a lot of that out in his speech. So that was nice. And Mike Squindo gave his speech kind of about the vision, sort of where he's heading, where he'd like to be over the next several years. So it was great. And Kathy Millis did a really nice speech on the Friends group. I really wanted her to highlight how much they have done for us in the last 10 years and what they've purchased and provided funding for, and not just items, but, programming and things like that. So it was great. And, of course, Sarah the Fiddler. I was surprised at the number of people who said to me they had never heard her play. They came because they had never heard her, and I said, "We've
had her in the studio.
We've had her in the studio." I said, she'll be our Channel 15. That's a repeat performance for our Channel 15 entertainment for the month of November. But what really, I'm in awe of the fact, Pete. She played for an hour. She has not one sheet of music up there. She just plays. I mean, she plays everything. I mean, I think some people may think that it's Irish music, but as she said, she started out playing mostly Irish music. She played classical. She played the national anthem. That's what she started with. And it was just fabulous. I mean, she just brought the house down. So it was fabulous. So thank you to you. Thank you to Christy. And even though it was, unforeseen circumstances, as I said, it gave me an opportunity to get to know Christy better. And I'm super happy that she's living in Westfield. And I hope to really get to be friends with her and, do some things with her because she's fun. All right. It is 6:35. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 on your dial and WCPC. So in continuing with our wedding song theme, we have to listen to Peter, Paul, and Mary singing the wedding song, There Is Love.
He is now to be among you at the calling of your heart. Rest assured this troubadour is acting on his part. The union of your spirits here has caused him to remain. For whenever two or more of you are gathered in his name, there is love. shall leave his mother, and a woman leave her home. They shall travel on to where the two shall be as one, as it was in the beginning, is now until the end. Woman draws her life from man and gives it back again, and there is love. There is Well, then what's to be the reason for becoming man and wife? Is it love that brings you here, or love that brings you life? Or if loving is the answer, then who's the giving for? Do you believe in something that you've never seen before? Oh, there's Oh, there's Oh, the marriage of your spirits here has caused him to remain. For whenever two or more of you are gathered in his name, there is love. Oh, there's
Underwriting for Community Radio on WSKB is brought to you in part by Rockies. Over 30 convenient locations throughout Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Florida. One of the nation's largest ACE dealers. Expertise and great product selection in paint, hardware, lawn and garden. That's Rockies. Rock solid service since 1926. On the web at rockies.com.
Hi, it's Bob Plass, and I have Wow, It's Tuesday, every Tuesday, 6 to 8. Wow, it's Tuesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
I did it!
You're listening to 107.5 WSFD-LP, Westfield Community Radio in Westfield, Mass.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:40. You are indeed listening to WSFD 107.5 on your dial and watching WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with our producer, Pete Coles, and our newly married chief engineer. Pete, I also wanted to do a little plug because I've actually been listening to WSFD, which is 107.5 FM, off hours, and I'm loving the music, and I'm loving the fact that it's uninterrupted music.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really great. So for those of you who, are into radio, and I've been listening to it in my car.
I think I'm pulling from the 50s through to like 1992.
Yeah, it's a really nice mix. We're sort of all over the place. And I mean, I have Sirius Radio, and I listen to it in my car, but I kind of flip around, and I've added 107.5. I'm like, oh, let's see what Pete's playing. Oh, I like that one. Okay, we'll leave it on this for a while. So, yeah, good job.
I'm still trying to get DJs to do shows of their own of the kind of music. And if you're interested, just give me a shout and send me an email and let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we actually have one famous birthday that I want to talk about today, only because this is one of my favorite actors ever. Today is October 29th, and it is the birthday of Richard Dreyfuss. Born on this day in 1947 in Brooklyn. He's 78 years old today. Richard Dreyfuss is an American leading man who has played his fair share of irritating pests and brash, ambitious hustlers. He was born Richard Stephen Dreyfuss to Geraldine Robbins, who was an activist, and Norman Dreyfuss, who was a restaurateur and attorney. Richard Dreyfuss worked his way up through bit parts, starting with The Graduate back in 1967, for one, and then television, including bit roles on Peyton Place, Room 222, this is really taking me back, Gidget, That Girl with Marlo Thomas, Gunsmoke, Bewitched, The Ghost and Mrs. Muir, and The Big Valley. By the latter part of the 1970s, Richard Dreyfuss was established as a major star, playing leads for Steven Spielberg in two of the top-grossing films of that decade, Jaws in 1975, and then Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977. He won a Best Actor Oscar in his first romantic lead as an out-of-work actor in The Goodbye Girl. That was in 1977. After a brief lull in the early 80s, a well-publicized drug problem, and a string of box office disappointments, including the film Whose Life Is It Anyway?, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, which he did in 1981, a clean and sober Dreyfuss reestablished himself in the mid-'80s as one of Hollywood's more engaging leads. He co-starred with Bette Midler and Nick Nolte in Down and Out in Beverly Hills. He quickly followed that with Nuts opposite Barbra Streisand, Barry Levinson's Tin Men in a memorable teaming with Danny DeVito, and then Stakeout in 1987 with Amelia Estevez. He received some of the best notices of his career as a determined, inspiring music teacher, coping with a deaf son and the demands of his career in Mr. Holland's Opus. That was in 1995. I never saw that movie, but now that I read about it, I want to see it. So that's on my list now. Trademarks. Richard Dreyfuss often plays usually wisecracking, fast-talking characters. He often plays characters who see themselves as intellectuals. He has a low-pitched nasal voice. He often worked with Steven Spielberg, and he's short. He's only 5'5". Little trivia. He had a serious drug problem in the late 1970s and early 1980s. One of the side effects was that his memory was damaged, so much so that he still has no memory of filming the movie Whose Life Is It Anyway? Back in 1981, which absolutely blows me away because I saw that movie when I was in graduate school. We saw that in one of my classes. And it's a movie about, he plays a young man who I want to say is recently engaged and then is involved in a tragic car accident, and he ends up quadriplegic. And so the gist of the movie is him in the hospital. There's nothing wrong with his brain. He can think clearly, but, paralyzed from the neck down. And it's his battle with the hospital and the powers that be of just ending his life, which is what he wanted to do. And I saw it for one of my grad school movies, but he has so many lines in that I was shocked that, he just had no memory of making that movie. It was a really powerful film. I can see where it wouldn't have been a real box office hit, but boy, it was powerful and a good movie if you ever get a chance to see it. And Pete, I threw this one in for you. This is a little trivia. He recently formed it, because I know this is one of your big bugaboos. He recently formed an organization called the Dreyfuss Civics Initiative. The organization's goal is to put civics classes back in the classroom, which have been absent from the curriculum of almost all schools in the United States since 1970.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
I know it does, because we've talked about that before on the show, and I thought,
people are out there with the current situation and everything.
Yep.
Doesn't realize who's holding things up.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
like, all right, one house did their part. They voted for a continuing resolution. And then the other side that wanted to get rid of the filibuster is now using the filibuster to hold it up in the Senate.
Right.
It's like,
yep.
These are things I learned in high school.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I thought but I thought that was interesting. It's an interesting cause. Like we have a lot of actors and actresses who take up environmental issues and causes and, domestic violence, things like that, which are all worthy causes. But I was like, wow, this one is different.
I think more people would vote if they understood how our country works.
Oh, I agree. I think people don't understand government at all. I don't think, and you know what, Pete?
No, they don't, because when I tell them, even at the local government level, what we do and they're like, really?
Yeah. I don't think people understand local government. I don't think they understand state government. And I don't think they understand federal government. And I don't think they understand how the three of those things interact and interface.
Yeah. And in some places, there's a county level, too.
Yep. That's true. I'm from New Jersey. Oh, yeah. I'm from New Jersey. And the county government was huge.
Yeah.
So
it was here for a long time and then it got phased out. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't understand the levels of government.
Yeah.
Until it slaps them upside the head, and they're like, "Well, why didn't I know that?"
Right, until they're affected personally, usually in the pocketbook, and that's
right.
I agree.
Until it slaps them upside the head.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, let's take a short break. We have some awareness months that we need to take care of. We need lots of announcements about things coming up because now that we're over with the 10-year anniversary. My family said, "Okay, can we all breathe again?" And I said,
"No,
we can, but but you know what it is. We have a lot of upcoming holiday things, but the difference is that those I can do in my sleep.
Yeah, they're normal ones.
Those I can do in my sleep. Those
Right.
are fine. So we'll be cooking with those. The anniversary was much more challenging because it was a one-shot deal.
Maybe it's a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off. And who did I send I sent a text to Jimmy Adams the next day thanking him for sponsorship. And I said, well, I figure the next big one will be the 25th anniversary, and I'll be like 83 years old. I said,
that's somebody else's problem.
That's what I said. I said, I don't know if I'll still be working at the senior center. And Jimmy kind of texted me back and said, oh, I'm sure you will. All right. We're going to do the third in my trilogy of wedding songs. Again, this is one of my favorites. It is 6:48. You are listening to WSFD FM radio on your dial and WCPC cable channel 15. So I just wanted to do a little intro to this song. So we're going to listen to Bruno Mars singing Marry You. And of course, there are a lot of, what do they call them, Pete? Flash mob? Flash mob. So there's one that I discovered a few years ago when I did this when Joanne Boucher got married, and I played this song on air for her, and I was scanning, and I found this great flash mob where this guy asked this woman to marry him. And if you ever, that are viewing, if you ever get a chance, it's on YouTube. It's like Lena, I forget his name. It sounds Irish. I don't know whether it's Trant or something like that. But anyway, it's during a high school. It's in a gym in a high school, and it's during some athletic event. It's like halftime of this athletic event, and the guy partway through the thing, it's all the cheerleaders and dancers, and they're just dancing to the song, and then he's up and they have a little square in the bottom where you can see he and his soon-to-be fiance sitting just in up in the bleachers, right? And then at one point he runs down and then joins them dancing, and he had to learn the moves to this dance. And you can see, and you're looking at her face in the little corner in the box. And of course, now the light is dawning on her that he's going to ask her, in front of all these people. It is just the best one that I've ever seen. And I've loved watching those flash mob things, but this one is great. So we're going to listen to Bruno Mars singing Marry You. We'll be back.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I want to marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I want to marry you. Well, I know this little chapel on the boulevard we can go. let's just run, girl. If we wake up and you wanna break up, that's cool. No, I won't blame you. It was fun, girl. Don't say no, 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 no. Just say yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll go, 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 go. If you're ready, like I'm ready. 'Cause it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you. Just say I do. Tell me right now, baby. Tell me right now, baby. Baby, just say I do. Tell me right now, baby. Tell me right now, baby. Baby, oh, it's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do. Hey, baby, I think I wanna marry you. Is it the look in your eyes, or is it this dancing juice? Who cares, baby? I think I wanna marry you.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donuts shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Join us every Thursday morning
From 6 until at least 7:30,
Check out the Bobby G and Company Show.
right here on WSKB 89.5.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
You're listening to 107.5 WSFD-LP, Westfield Community Radio in Westfield, Mass.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:54. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial and WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm in the studio this morning with the chairman of the board and chief engineer, newly married, Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete.
Good morning.
And just to remind folks, it is the last Wednesday of the month, and that means that Jen Jaffoon will be joining us second hour. Jen is a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. Our topic for this morning is going to be heart health. So Jen was at the senior center yesterday doing our facilitating our diabetes dialogue support and education group. So I get to see her 2 days in a row. All right, October is White Cane Awareness Month. It is to raise understanding and awareness of orientation and mobility tools for individuals who are blind and visually impaired. So about the white cane law. The white cane allows a person who is blind to travel independently. In 1931, Lions clubs began promoting the use of white canes for people who are blind as a national identification program. All states and many other countries have white cane laws which allow pedestrians who are legally blind the right of way at street crossings. Massachusetts white cane law states that all motorists, upon seeing a pedestrian who uses a guide dog or a white cane at a street crossing, must come to a complete stop. I'll say that again, and the reason I'm going to say it again is because I have someone at the senior center who uses both a guide dog and a white cane. So when she doesn't have her guide dog with her, she uses the white cane. But Massachusetts law says that all motorists, upon seeing a pedestrian who uses a guide dog or a white cane at a street crossing, must come to a complete stop. Here are a few guidelines regarding how to interact with someone who is blind or visually impaired. When in doubt, ask the person if they need assistance. So don't just assume that they need help. They may or may not. You know, most of them are quite independent. Do not grab the cane, the person, or the guide dog. And you'll know a guide dog because they'll have, their guide dog vest on. And they'll be in what's called a harness. So that's like a short, it's not a leash. The harness is short because that way they're staying right next to the person that they're guiding. You don't pet a guide dog. Most dog guides are working and should not be petted since it can be distracting for the dog.
That's how you determine an emotional support animal from a working dog.
Right. Exactly. Two different things, two different animals, two different things.
Yep.
But a guide dog, and you'll know the guide dog is working. If they're in harness, that means they're working. And when they're not working, then they know when they're not working. When they're not working, the owner will take the dog off the harness and, okay, go play. And then they can be pet and so forth. Identify yourself when you come into a room and let the person who's got the visual impairment know when you're leaving a room or a location, because otherwise you're kind of leaving them high and dry. They can't see you, so they don't know if you're, if you're there or not. So make sure that you let them know when you come into a room, but also when you leave a room. And when you speak about someone with a disability, refer to the person and then to the disability. For example, refer to a person who's blind rather than a blind person. This is called person-first language. It's one of the first things that we taught when I was at Springfield College and I taught in the rehab department. It's one of the first things that we taught people. They're people first, and they happen to have some kind of a disability. That's secondary. First, they're people. And always yields to white cane and guide dog users at street corner crossings. Remember, it is the law. All right. October is also Down Syndrome Awareness Month. So typically, the nucleus of each cell in the human body contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, half of which are inherited from each parent. Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21. This additional genetic material alters the course of development and causes the characteristics associated with Down syndrome. A few of the common physical traits of Down syndrome are low muscle tone, small stature, they tend to be smaller, shorter, an upward slant to the eyes, and a single deep crease across the center of the palm. Although each person with Down syndrome is a unique individual and may possess these characteristics to different degrees or sometimes not at all. So, it is different. For centuries, people with Down syndrome have been alluded to in art, literature, and science. It wasn't until the late 19th century, however, that John Langdon Down, an English physician, published an accurate description of a person with Down syndrome. It was this scholarly work, published in 1866, that earned Down the recognition as the father of the syndrome. Although other people had previously recognized the characteristics of the syndrome, it was Down who described the condition as a distinct and separate entity. Individuals with Down syndrome are becoming increasingly integrated into society and community organizations such as schools, healthcare systems, workforces, and social and recreational activities. Individuals with Down syndrome possess varying degrees of cognitive delays from very mild to severe. Most people with Down syndrome have cognitive delays that are mild to moderate, so sort of in that general range. People with Down syndrome should always be referred to as people first, which we just talked about. Instead of a Down syndrome child, it should be a child with Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a condition or a syndrome. It's not a disease. You're not afflicted with it. People have Down syndrome. They don't suffer from it, and they're not afflicted by it. Typically developing or typical is preferred over the word normal. And intellectual disability or cognitive disability has replaced mental retardation as the appropriate term. The National Down Syndrome Society strongly condemns the use of the word retarded in any derogatory context. Using this word is hurtful and suggests that people with disabilities are not competent. But, we know a lot of people with Down syndrome are in the workforce, and they're also living longer. They used to have a relatively short lifespan, usually only into the 50s, but they are living longer and as productive members of society. So, all right, it is 7:01. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 on your dial FM and WCPC cable channel 15. We'll take our top of the hour break and we'll be back with Jen Jafune.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Listen to me, Michael Buster McMahon, Mondays 8 to 10 a.m. to learn the stories behind your favorite songs. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
You're listening to 107.5 WSFD-LP, Westfield Community Radio in Westfield, Mass.
Good morning. It is 7:05. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial and WCPC cable channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio this morning with the newly married producer, chairman of the board, chief engineer Pete Coles. Good morning again, Pete, behind the glass.
Congratulations.
I know. And Jen Jafune is joining us. Jen is a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. She joins us on the last Wednesday of the month for our Food for Thought segment. So we'll thoughtfully talk about food. So welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
All right. So a few announcements here. And by the way, Pete just ran that little bit from Michael Buster McMahon. So Michael, and I sat next to Michael at Pete's reception on Saturday, and we were talking about our shows. And the funny thing is Rick Barry had said to me when I was coming in, I said, well, who else is here from the studio? And he said, Michael Buster McMahon. I said, which one is he? I've only, I never get to see him.
Right.
And his show is on from 8 to 10, and I'm usually like already at work on Tuesdays. So, but anyway, we had a great conversation. So we think we're going to bring him into my show, and I'm going to go on his show, and we're going to do all kinds of shows together. So that should be a lot of fun. All right. So a few things happening in town coming up. One is St. Mary's High School Gym is having this Saturday, November 1st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., a costume jewelry sale. St. Mary's is located at 27 Bartlett Street. And I'm really announcing this and pushing this because it's to benefit the Meals Ministry and the St. Vincent de Paul Society. And they are sort of a safety net for us. I mean, people come to us and we help, but sometimes we're also seeking help, and we often will contact St. Vincent de Paul. And the Meals Ministry, they do weekend meals for some of our folks who get home
like
delivered
Meals on
meals.
Wheels,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So they do that. So that's Saturday, November 1st from 10 to 2. You know, you have to start thinking too, folks. Christmas, the holidays are coming. Christmas is coming. So, you know, maybe a nice gift here or there. So, and costume jewelry, even if you have to mail it, you know, it's easy to mail. Put it in a little padded bag and won't cost you that much to mail. And then 2 weeks from today, because this is Wednesday, November 12th, the Greater Westfield Community Band will be doing their, I think they usually do 2 concerts, one in the fall, one in the spring. They will be, they're starting at 7 p.m. and they have a note on their thing to please note the earlier start time. I think they used to do it starting at 7:30.
Oh, okay.
I've noticed that a lot of these concerts, all the theaters have gone from 8 o'clock to 7:30 now. And here's my theory on why, because I think that the people that support these are older people.
I was just thinking,
and and Gary said that, but Gary goes, "Oh, I am so glad." The Majestic, he goes, "I'm so glad they're doing the shows are starting." You know, Friday night, Saturday night, Thursday night, 7:30 instead of 8 o'clock. Because especially like if it's a musical, same thing with the women's club. They're long, and you know, it's nice to not be getting out at like 11 o'clock, and then by the time you get home and you go to bed, you know, like it's midnight.
Right.
So anyway, so this start time is 7 o'clock. Westfield High School, 177 Montgomery Road, directed by Patrick Kennedy and Will Cho. Free admission. It's an accessible building. Bring a friend and enjoy the music. It's a lot of fun. And you know what? I think that there is so much to do in this community for free. Like that's free. You know, just go. Just show up. All right. Now at the Senior Center, we are over the we spent 20 minutes talking about the 10-year anniversary open house and Fiddle Fest, which we did on Sunday. It is behind us now. So now the focus is on, upcoming holidays, November and December, lots of stuff happening. So as I mentioned before Pete's reception on Saturday, I was at the Senior Center with Barbara Martone, my volunteer extraordinaire, getting our Voice of Experience newsletter all bundled and sorted for distribution throughout the city. So it is out, folks. It was out early because the last Saturday of the month fell early. It was on the 25th. All right, here's a reminder. The Senior Center is the Ward 2 polling station, and we have an election coming up on Tuesday. So we are for Ward 2 precincts A and B for all of the elections. So there is no indoor dining that day and no coffee that day. Remember that, especially because it's on a Tuesday. And the coffee people, I've got all of the Totally Fun Fitness people, Carol Palmer's group, but we have the mail call group. So, guys, everybody has to make other plans for Tuesday because the great room will be taken up. We will have curbside lunches. They will be distributed. And all of our other regularly scheduled programs will happen. So, fitness programs, the pool league, all of that stuff. Cribbage, all of the Tuesday stuff will happen. The Friends of the Westfield Senior Center is doing their lottery ticket holiday fundraiser. This is an annual, and Kathy Millis spent a lot of time at the 10th anniversary party talking about what the Friends Group does. So what they'll be raffling off will be a Christmas box filled with both holiday giving as well as receiving in mind. So there will be gift bags and gift tags, Scotch tape, tissue paper, boxed Christmas cards, and $100 worth of lottery tickets.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a nice prize. We'll be selling tickets throughout the month. The Friends Group will. The cost is $5 for a sheet of 25 tickets. They will go on sale in the lobby on Election Day because we found that worked really well last year.
It's a great idea.
Yep. And then they'll also be selling tickets on Thursday, November 6th, which is our turkey dinner at the Senior Center for those dining inside. And that's a biggie. And by the way, it's sold out, folks. Tickets went on sale last Wednesday or last Thursday. I don't remember which. They're gone. Sold out yesterday. So anyway, but the Friends group will be in the lobby selling raffle tickets that day. And then various days throughout the month. You know, they look at the schedule and when do we have a lot of people coming in, and they'll set up a table. On Wednesday, November 12th at 2 o'clock, the Do Re Mi Singers will be doing their annual performance of A Salute to Our Veterans. So it'll be the day after Veterans Day. Veterans Day is on a Tuesday this year, and we are closed. The city offices are closed on Veterans Day. And there's an article in the Westfield News from Julie Barnes on the programming going on in Westfield on Veterans Day with the parade and the ceremony at Parker Veterans Park, whatever it's called, Parker Park. Friday Breakfast Bonus is back for the month of November. It will be on November 14th. Mickey Hoare will be the featured performer for our Friday morning breakfast bonus. She'll be performing from 8:30 to 9:30. She is back by popular demand. This is something, Jen, that we started probably about 6 months ago.
Okay.
And it's really started with some performers that had contacted me and said, hey, I would like to perform at the Senior Center. And I'm kind of like, all right, are you any good? Like, I don't, there are people that I don't know. It's sort of like, all right, like, what's the deal? And so one of them we had perform a couple times for some open houses that we had done, just kind of like as background music. And he worked out really well. So I started with him because he was a known entity. His name is Jacob, Cordley or something like that. But anyway, Jacob. And he was great. So he did my first one. And it's just kind of like, some background music and while people are having breakfast, because our Friday morning breakfasts are really getting very popular. Okay. They're really super. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to do that periodically? Like, every couple of months, just have somebody come in and perform during the. So in August, we had somebody else before. Oh, Brad Shepard came in. I think he did July. And then in August, one of my coworkers knew this woman and said, oh, she's so great. She's so great. And I said, all right, well, we'll try her out. So she came in August. Her name is Mickey Hoare. She's local. She lives in Westfield. She was fabulous.
Oh,
she was absolutely fabulous. The seniors loved her. And what I liked about her was she did some different songs. She did some country. She did different genres, different years. And so she is really backed by popular demand. So she was one. She wasn't even out of the parking lot, and I already booked her for November because I said we have a lot of stuff happening in September and October.
Right.
So I said let's bring you in. So she will be at the Senior Center on November 14th, and tickets are already going for that because because you can sign up in advance for lunches, and as soon as people saw that, because the staff was telling me that they said, oh, they're already signing up for that Friday morning breakfast. So if you want that, if you want to attend, because we do have a ceiling, we can only fit so many people in there. So get your it's not a ticket, but make your reservation. And then the other thing that I want to announce is Brown Bag. So Brown Bag for November, it's normally the second Tuesday of the month, which this month happens to fall on Veterans Day. So Brown Bag is going, and this is going to really throw people for a loop. So Brown Bag is going to be the day before. So it's going to be Monday, November 10th, same time, 12:30 start time. And we are asking people, because we ran into some problems last month, please don't show up before 12:30 because we have the lunch people leaving. So when we've got the Brown Bag people coming in their cars and our lunch people who are finishing lunch walking, this is like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So, if they come early, if they come at 12:30, we're fine. But, we have people coming in at 12:15, getting in line for Brown Bag, and then I have people trying to exit. That doesn't work well. So come at 12:30. We have a Brown Bag for everyone. It's not like
you're not going to miss out.
You're not going to miss out. That's exactly it. It's like and you're just going to sit there and wait. Why wait? And we can't afford to waste the gas,
Right.
And now it's too cold to shut your car off and just sit there in the freezing cold. So come at 12:30. We're there from 12:30 to 1:15. You can come at 1 o'clock. Yes, there will be a Brown Bag for you. All right. Okay, so all this other, I think, can wait. Oh, other than this one, because this is today. So we started a second support group. similar to the side-by-side group. This is called the Stand By Me group, so, it's the music theme. It is offered on the last Wednesday of the month. So the same Wednesday that Jen is here, we do the Stand By Me. So I will be doing that starting at 9 o'clock this morning at the Senior Center. This group is open to any older adult who's coping with life's challenges, or you're dealing with health problems, the loss of close family members or friends, caregiver responsibilities, other family dynamics. We've had, you name it, we've had it in the side-by-side group. But I have found that the support of others in the same boat can be really helpful.
Sure.
So we've met a couple of times. I have the first couple of times we've had 3 people in the group. I know we have some new people coming in this morning. It is open, so please feel free. And again, it'll be 9 to 10:30 this morning. And then the Right from the Heart group has asked me to let you know that they meet at the Senior Center. This is a writing group. They meet at the Senior Center every Monday from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. Donna Herman is the facilitator. Join the Senior Centers. They're just for fun writers, poets, and we do have a couple published authors that have joined the group.
Wow.
Yep. But mostly it's people who like to write for fun. A lot of times they write about personal things, but some of them are also working on some stories and things like that. So some of them like to write, actually take a pen and paper. Some of them hit the laptop keys. Most of the writing is done at home, and then it's shared with the group. So it's a great group of listeners, and they're really a nice group of people. So join them. All right, let's take a short break, and then we're going to get to Jen's topic of heart health and nutrition. That's the topic for this morning. In recognition of White Cane Awareness Month, we're going to listen to Art Garfunkel singing Bright Eyes. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial and WCPC Cable Channel 15. We'll be back with Jen Jafune in just a few minutes.
Is it a kind of dream floating out on the tide, following the river of death downstream? Or is it a dream? There's a fog along the strange glow in the sky, and nobody seems to know where you go, and what does it mean? Oh, is it a dream? Bright eyes burning like fire, bright eyes, how can you close and fade? How can the light that burns so brightly suddenly burn so pale? Bright eyes. Is it a kind of shadow reaching into the night, wandering over the hills unseen? Or is it a dream? There's a high wind in the trees, a cold sound in the air, and nobody ever knows when you go, and where do you start? Oh, into the dark. Bright eyes so brightly, suddenly burn so pale. Bright eyes, bright eyes, burning like fire. Bright eyes, how can you close and fail? How can the light that burns so brightly suddenly burn so pale? Bright eyes.
Underwriting for WSKB's community radio programming is brought to you in part by R. Levesque Associates. They are offering landscape architecture, civil engineering, environmental permitting, and land surveying. RLA is a second-generation company devoted to excellence in the planning and design of outdoor spaces. On the web at rlaland.com or at 40 School Street in Westfield.
Hi, this is Harry Rock, host of Rock on Westfield every fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tune in for my view of this place I call home.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
You're listening to 107.5 WSFD-LP, Westfield Community Radio in Westfield, Mass.
Okay, that's definitely like a rock out, you know. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM Westfield, and you're watching WCPC Cable Channel 15. My name is Tina Gorman. I am your Wake Up Wednesday host. I'm in the studio with the chairman of the board, the chief engineer, newly married, Pete Cole. And his wife's name is Christy, by the way. So, you know, I keep talking about that. Pete's newly married. Christy is lovely. She is, I love her. I love her. She helped me out of a crisis already and, you know, married a week and she's already helping the city employees out, Pete, right?
Yeah.
And Jen Jafune is our guest this morning. Jen is a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. You know, my husband Gary said to me, how is Jen's, because Jen is in private practice.
Yeah.
Gary said, how's that going? And I said, I think it's going well. Is it going well?
I'm still in practice.
You're still in practice.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I can pay all my bills.
Okay, that's a good thing.
You know, I wasn't starting from scratch
Right.
because I knew a lot of I knew a ton of providers when I set up the office.
Yep.
So, you know, within 3 months, I started having fairly regular business. However, recently, there have been so many primary carers who left the area that I am starting at scratch again.
Mm-hmm.
And I am trying now to market myself, which I really barely have ever had to do.
Yeah.
So there have been some ups and downs. I also took a recertification course, which demanded a very huge amount of work pre-program. So I literally took, anytime someone canceled, block that time so I could do all this work. And then I took the course, and then I had to take this massive exam. So there were like 3 weeks in September where I was barely working.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to build all that back up. But
well, good to know.
You know, pretty decent. I really enjoyed doing the Senior Center Health Fair Day.
Oh, the Senior Options event.
Yeah, I haven't done something like that in years, which made me then reach out to other senior centers in the area, and I'm trying to develop a relationship there.
Good, perfect. Use us as a reference.
I am.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I didn't even ask, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I figured you would be okay.
Absolutely.
When we got to the point where they were saying, who can I call, I was going to
absolutely
reach out to you, but you know, it's interesting because working for yourself, like I went to California to visit relatives 2 weeks ago. I just did
you
that.
Went. You didn't have to ask permission.
I did
You
not.
didn't have to take time off from anybody and request time off.
Right.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
we're doing a couple of trips coming up for Thanksgiving, Christmas area time, and
nice.
you know, it's like, okay, So
can
I
do
work
that.
less.
You know what, Jen? Gary asked me this, and I said, I honestly don't know. Are you cash only practice, or do you work
I
with
take
insurances?
insurance.
And I said to Gary, I said, I'm pretty sure she works with insurance companies, but I said I don't know that for a fact, so I'll find out.
Yeah, I'm an approved provider for about 13, 14 insurances.
Okay.
And I do have some people who self-pay.
Yep. Okay.
And the self-pay people get a discount.
Okay.
Because, insurance isn't going to cover what they want to have addressed.
Nice.
And, I'm open to doing things. I've got a couple of speaking engagements that I've done recently and writing articles. I'm doing what I like to do. That's what it really is.
I think that's perfect.
And
That's great.
it is. It's perfect.
All right. Well, today's topic is heart health, and I'm going to start things out by. It's also National Oatmeal Day.
Yes.
And I said, and I had to let our viewers know. I had when I contacted Jen, I said, by the way, it's National Oatmeal Day, which I know you can roll into heart health. So I'm going to do my blurb here, then I'm going to turn this whole thing over to you.
Okay.
So October 29th is National Oatmeal Day. Hearts get healthy on National Oatmeal Day, and I am an oatmeal lover, so that's why we have to talk about this, because I have oatmeal almost every day. Not only is oatmeal one of America's favorite breakfast foods, but we also celebrate it annually on October 29th. It's a perfect day to enjoy one of America's favorite breakfast foods. A warm bowl of oatmeal starts a day off right. Add spices, fruit, nuts, or nut butters to add flavor. It's also a versatile ingredient. Add oatmeal to baked goods to create a delicious crumble. We use it to make granola, cookies, and bars. Sometimes recipes for soups call for oatmeal, adding thicker texture and nutty flavor. Now, I know Jen is going to go over this, so I'm just going to, read my little thing. But steel-cut oats are coarsely cut oats. They are the nuttiest and most flavorful oats available. Oatmeal also comes in different forms. Rolled oats are a whole grain oat that's rolled into oat flakes. They may take longer to cook, but the nutty flavor adds to the enjoyment. Another kind is instant or quick oats. These oats cook more quickly because they've either been pre-cooked or cut thinner. They lose some of the nuttiness found in rolled oats, but they offer health benefits as well. Oatmeal offers a variety of health benefits. A bowl of oatmeal daily can lower cholesterol. It may reduce the risk of heart disease. It may reduce your risk of cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, eating a diet high in fiber may help reduce your risk for cancer. The grain is low in fat. Oatmeal is low in calories, and add oatmeal to your diet as a good source of iron and fiber. Some favorite oatmeal toppings include brown sugar, cinnamon, peaches, blueberries, strawberries, bananas, nuts, and granola. I didn't know this. Oatmeal has a long tradition in the state of Vermont. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, here you go. Which originated within the Scottish settlement.
Oh.
Although there were many variations, most oatmeal recipes began with steel-cut oats. This is what they did in Vermont. They soaked the oats overnight in cold water, salt, and maple syrup. Early the next morning, the cook would add ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, and occasionally ground ginger. The pot, bless you, the pot was then placed over heat and cooked for approximately 90 minutes.
Wow.
The oatmeal was served steaming hot with cream, milk, or butter. Vermont leads the United States in per capita consumption of cooked oatmeal cereal. Here's another little piece of trivia for you. The Quaker Man, the Quaker Man is one of the oldest advertising mascots in America. The Quaker Oats Company registered him as the first trademark for a breakfast cereal in 1877.
Wow.
How can I add more oatmeal to my diet? Well, it adds nutty flavor to many foods. Besides eating oatmeal as a breakfast cereal, which I highly recommend, you can mix it into a cup of yogurt. You can blend it into your smoothie. You can eat a granola bar made with oats, obviously cookies, muffins, pancakes, waffles. You can add oatmeal to any of those mixes. You can make a crumble and top it onto baked apples. Delicious. Or try an oat soup recipe. Now, that I've never done.
I think I have done it, and what I've done is I put the oatmeal in a mini chopper, and I don't use the steel cut. I use the rolled oats.
Rolled oats, yep.
And so then is like breadcrumb consistency.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I have done that. I don't regularly do it, but yeah.
Okay.
And the one thing I will add about the oats is, well, a couple things. One is they don't have to be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some people who make them more savory.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just when you're thinking about breakfast, not everybody likes standard American breakfast fare.
Right.
And it's okay to make things on the savory side.
Now, if you have people that have that go with the savory, because this thought just occurred, does anybody add like vegetables to it?
You
and
can
go that route?
Yeah, you can add vegetables. I have someone who years ago would make a big multiple servings of oats, put them in a loaf pan with things mixed into it, chill it, and then slice it like bread and saute it like
like French toast?
But it was savory.
Wow. That sounds delicious.
I know, and easy.
Yeah.
I like easy.
Yeah. Easy works.
The other thing I would say is when we're talking about oats, the less processed, the better.
Yeah.
The more heart healthy benefits. So I'm not a huge fan of the tear open packets that you mix with boiling water. If you're going to do that, you get the plain and you still flavor it yourself because there's so much added sugar to those.
Yep.
And the other thing I was going to say is you can make oatmeal in large quantities and just rewarm. You can also cook it in a slow cooker. There's, lots of different things you can do to make it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you were saying that because somebody asked me I think it was Kathy Millis, the day of the anniversary thing. I had made my oatmeal and then Pete came over. We thought it was going to be, 15 minutes to get this slideshow, and it was like an hour and a half.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so at like 2 hours into it, and I said to Kathy, I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I've been up since 5 o'clock. And I said, I made my oatmeal. I have to reheat it. And she said to me, oh, I didn't know you could reheat oatmeal. And I said, well, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I said, because Charlie likes oatmeal too, my granddaughter.
Yeah.
So, but she doesn't eat a lot. So we'll make a bowl and then, she'll
She
have
has
like
a little.
third of it or, whatever. And then the next, we just stick it in the fridge. And so you can heat that up, folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had oatmeal yesterday for breakfast, and the night before I threw everything in a mason jar. So when I got up in the morning, I just popped it in the microwave and cooked it that way.
That's a good idea.
It was super simple.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So,
all right. So what do you want to tell us about heart health and what do we need to know?
Well, it's important to know about heart health because it's the number one killer in the United States.
Yeah.
So that is emotionally draining for not just the person who has heart disease, but for friends and family. So there's a huge emotional cost, but it's also very financially costly for the country.
Yes.
The most current, and I have to look at my notes, the most current costs I could find were for 2020 to 2021, and it was just for heart disease, $417.9 billion.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
It really is.
So, not only is it emotionally draining, it's financially draining for our country. We cannot pretend it doesn't exist, and we cannot just rely on medication.
Yeah.
So, and another stat I did find, 1 in 20 adults have some form of coronary artery disease at any point in time. That's a lot of people. And
it is a lot of people.
Every 40 seconds, someone has a heart attack in the United States.
Yeah.
And, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. And you know what? You don't have to be old.
No, you don't. You don't.
Because I think that's the other thing we're finding is that this is happening. Heart disease, we're seeing it in younger and younger people, including children, by the way.
Which is so incredibly scary.
It is scary.
Yep. So what we need to do is we need to talk about what are the basic tests, what labs, what values you'd like to see, and then how to change them if they're not in line. Okay. So when you get your standard cholesterol test, the doctor will call it a lipid panel, and they check total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. So I'm just going to go through those.
Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, when it comes to cholesterol, people don't realize this, but we actually need some.
Correct.
So it helps with nerve conduction. It helps with hormones. I mean, that affects every part of our body. Cell structure. It helps some parts of digestion, particularly the gallbladder. function correctly. What total cholesterol, what it is important to understand is we never need to eat it. And that's what people find confusing. You know, there's some nutrients that we absolutely have to have every day or every other day because we don't make it. But if your liver works, your body makes all the cholesterol you'll ever need.
Okay.
So another thing to know about cholesterol is it will go up or down based on not the cholesterol you eat, but how much fat and what type. So it's confusing to people because they go out and they read labels and they're like, this has no cholesterol, so I can eat it. Well, that's not really going to make a big dent in your blood cholesterol levels. You have to pay attention to the fat. And there is a nutrition recommendation of 300 milligrams or less of cholesterol a day in the diet. I don't even tell people because it really doesn't have an impact.
Okay.
Okay. So when you get your blood cholesterol numbers done, the goal is the total cholesterol is to be under 200.
Okay.
It's okay, and people find this a little like scary. It's okay to be 198, 199. You just have to be under 200.
Okay.
Every point over increases your risk for heart attack and stroke. So there are varying levels. There's a borderline level. There's a high level. The goal is just to be under 200.
Okay.
And
that's total cholesterol.
Total cholesterol.
Okay.
Now, I have a huge pet peeve. I think my bracelets are clicking. I'm going to take them off. One of my biggest pet peeves in healthcare, aside from insurance, is when you get a blood test done and you get this phone call from a doctor's office. Hi, Tina, your numbers look better.
Click.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Better than what? Were they horrible and now they're just bad? Were they now moving into the normal range? What does that mean? So, you know, today's results really only can be evaluated if you compare the numbers to last time and next time. So you can't, you know, I beg people not to accept things look better.
Well, and I think one of my pet peeves is I don't know what normal is. So when they say, "Oh, it's in the normal range," I'm like, "Well, what is that?" You know?
Yeah. So I tell everybody, get the numbers, get a copy of the report.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays you can go in, if you're computer savvy, you can go into your patient portal and you can see that. But for example, you know, if your doctor changes who they get their blood work from, the old labs are no longer available.
Ah, okay.
You know, for me, I'm sure they're in the chart.
Yep, somewhere.
But, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So when we're looking at the total cholesterol, I also like to point out to people, if you're just getting total LDL, HDL done, the HDL and LDL will not add up to the total. Because there's other DLs.
Okay.
Yes. When I
there
was
are other DLs.
Yes.
Okay.
So when
Didn't know that.
When I was a new dietitian, I would have patients say to me, "You did the math wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't add up. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not a mathlete, but you know, I can add and I can explain that, you know, there's like VLDL. They haven't tested you for that. You know, so
other DLs.
There are other DLs. And by the way, the DL word, the reason why we say LDL and HDL is because it stands for low density lipoprotein or high density lipoprotein, which is a fancy way of saying fat and protein combined.
Okay.
But it's really long and hard to say those things, so that's why we call them LDL.
And then what are the other I mean, just like you said, VDL.
VLDL is very low density lipoprotein.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I getcha. Okay, so they're all just ranges.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Well, they're different types of
right.
lipoproteins, and they have their own values assigned. But when you get your basic lipoprotein, when you get your basic lipid profile, it's these four to start with usually. So everybody knows there's a good and a bad fat.
Correct.
But nobody knows which is which.
I can never remember.
Yes. So I have the lamest way to remember it.
Good.
But no one
Give me
will
anything.
ever forget.
Give me anything. Because I always do that. I get them back and I'm like, all right, which is which? Which is which?
Okay. You'll never forget now. LDL starts with L, so does lousy.
Ah, perfect.
So you want your lousy to be lower.
Okay.
HDL starts with H, so does heart healthy, happy, and high.
There you go.
Never again will you forget these.
Thank you.
Okay.
Lousy. I'll remember that lousy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So LDL, is the lousy or the bad cholesterol, but we actually need some. People don't understand that it does play a role. It's the carrier of most of the cholesterol through the body. So we need some. But as you've known me for a long time, I have a general rule of thumb, and that is this: some is good, more is not necessarily better. It applies to almost everything. It applies here. So we need some to carry our cholesterol through, but if we have extra, it can lead to plaque buildup lining the arteries, and that will lead to heart attack and stroke.
Heart problems.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we need to look at what our LDL numbers are and find, if they're above the normal range, then we need to make some changes because we need to decrease that plaque lining the arteries and clogging things. And it's the fat we eat, what type, how much.
Okay.
But first we need to know what the numbers need to be.
Okay.
All right. So when you look at your LDL, you want it to be below 100.
Okay.
If you are just a standard person, if you are someone who has diabetes but you don't have any other health concerns, you still want it below 100. If you have diabetes and complications, or you have heart disease where you have, maybe had a heart attack or something, you really want it below 70.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you, it's hard to get it below 70 without medication intervention.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you depend only on medication.
Yep.
You have to back it up with everything else.
Okay. Do you find where that's where people fall short? It's kind of like, oh, okay, great, I'm on a pill now, so I don't have to worry about what I eat.
Yeah. I mean, it's a two-sided. I don't know how to say this right. Nobody wants to be on medication is one group, and then the other group is, I'll just take a pill.
Right.
They're
not a lot of in between there.
Right.
Yeah.
People usually come to me from the first group. I don't want to take medication.
Right.
Group. And there's
That's
a
why I'm here.
conversation with the doctor, and it's the doctor saying, hey, these lipid values are above normal. And the patient saying, I don't want to go on medication. And the doctor saying, you really should. And the patient saying, I want to try and exercise and eating right. And the doctor always says this: you've got 3 months. At the end of 3 months, they go back to the doctor. It's barely moved. It may have gone in the wrong direction, may be in the right direction, but not enough to make the doctor feel comfortable. And the same conversation, and the ending is, fine, I'll send you to the dietitian.
Okay.
And that's who I end up seeing often.
Okay.
Which is fine. It takes a solid 2 months of fairly consistent effort to see nutrition changes.
And that was my question: is what's realistically when would somebody see a difference?
Yep.
Okay.
So at least you'll start to see a difference, but to see the significant impact, it takes a good 2 months.
Okay.
Yep.
If you're just joining us this morning, my guest is Jen Jafune. Jen is a registered dietitian and licensed nutritionist. She is the facilitator for the Senior Center's Diabetes Dialogue Support and Education Group. That's a group that meets monthly at the Senior Center. Our topic this morning is heart health. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM and WCPC Cable Channel 15. And I think we're just going to keep the
going.
conversation going because I don't want to break the flow here.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about HDL. Do our comparative. HDL, again, starts with H, heart healthy, happy, high. We used to say that there's no upper limit, but now there is one. So I'm going to explain that in a minute, but let me tell you what HDL does. It, again, is a high-density lipoprotein, so it's a fat-protein combo, and its role is to go through the body and pick up the stuff clogging the arteries and bring it back to the liver to get rid of.
Okay.
And so we need it. It helps lower the risk for heart attack and stroke. And when the HDL is higher, the LDL is lower because it's picking up that LDL.
Okay, yep.
We used to think it was the panacea, that it was it will do so much. It's not as effective as we thought it was. There are always new studies, but it still plays an important role.
Okay.
What we know is the normal range for men is 40 to 80, and for women it's 50 to 80. And so here's an instance where gender does make a difference.
Okay.
And the difference is related to reproduction and estrogen. So during our childbearing years, we have what I call an estrogen shield protecting us from heart disease because we're meant to reproduce. When we go through menopause and our estrogen shield gets thrown out the back window and we've got, this much coverage, we have a significantly increased risk of heart attack and stroke. So going into it, we need a good HDL level, and we need more than men. Eventually, men pretty much have this kind of trajectory for risk of heart attack and stroke. We kind of do this. And
Okay.
eventually we even out, but, we're in our 70s and 80s when that's happening.
Okay.
What else did I want to say? The
ceiling number.
The ceiling number,
Yep.
yes. So there are some studies. I have not read them thoroughly, so I can't speak about them specifically, but there are some studies linking excessively high HDL with increased risk of Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So, it's very rare that I've been in practice 39 years. I've seen a handful of people who have exceptionally high HDLs, like 95, 100.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if your total cholesterol number shouldn't be more than 200, there's got to be a ceiling there somewhere because you're adding high, low, and the other DLs somewhere along the line.
In the past, if you had an exceptionally high HDL, which made your total high, the doctor would say, don't worry about it.
Don't worry
You've
about it
got
'cause your
all this
HDL
protection from this heart-healthy lipoprotein. But now it's exceptionally high is maybe a problem. I would, this is me just, thinking off the top of my head, but I think if you had a higher risk of Alzheimer's anyway, you would want to pay attention to that.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Then there's a test called triglycerides. Everybody has it done. Nobody knows what it means, and it's talked about very little. So just to take a long word that sounds scary and break it down, tri means 3. Glyceride means fats. So it's 3 fats. The majority of the triglycerides that we get into our body are from the foods we eat.
Okay.
And we can also convert some things in the body to triglycerides. So if we take in excess sugars, not the carbs that we absolutely need, but in addition to, and especially simple sugars, candy, soda, juices, that kind of thing.
Right.
And alcohol, our bodies will change those into triglycerides.
Okay.
Now, the body doesn't like when the triglycerides are high.
Okay.
And so what it does is send a message to the brain, fix this, fix this. So it does. It lays it down as fat right around our middles. And if you think about that, where are the majority of our organs? Right there in the middle, and now you've got fat infiltrating everything. So not only increased risk for heart attack and stroke, but fatty liver and other invasive fat in the body. So we have to pay attention to the triglycerides. A couple of things about the triglycerides, and that is if you have alcohol within 48 hours of having your lipid test done, your triglycerides will be noticeably higher.
Okay.
I've never had that warning from a doctor's office when, going to get a lipid test. They may tell you, stop eating 8 to 12 hours before the test. And nowadays, they're even saying you don't have to do that. I still tell people to do that.
Okay.
I think it makes a difference, but I've never heard anyone get warned about not having alcohol.
Okay.
Now, if you're a regular drinker all the time,
right. Well, that was my thought. I'm thinking to myself, okay, seriously, most people are having these tests done either first thing in the morning or, sometime during the working day. So I'm thinking to myself, why would you, you got a serious problem if you're going in there. You've already had alcohol, and
Well,
it's
48 hours. It could be the night
48 hours.
before,
Oh, okay,
2
all right,
days
okay, 'cause
before.
I'm thinking like, what?
But to get
Yeah.
the most concise view of your levels.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what should your triglycerides be? They should be under 150.
Okay.
It's okay if they're 149. They just have to be under 150. And again, every degree above 150 increases your risk for heart disease. So what can you do? You can take meds and have that argument with the doctor. But there's a lot of food things you can do. There's some diseases and conditions where there's nothing you personally can really do to make a difference. But in this case, there's a lot you can do to make a difference. So first of all, I said that fat makes the biggest difference. And there are good fats, there are bad fats. As a dietitian, they teach us not to say there are not bad foods. But when it comes to this, there are good fats and bad fats. And you can have good fats, but if you have too much, they still work against you. So my general rule of thumb of some is good, more is not necessarily better, still comes into play.
Okay.
So I don't know if you need a break.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Because you have about 8 minutes.
Okay. So most people know some good fats. They know avocados, they know salmon, and they know like nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all good fats, and they are. However, there are many more good fats out there. You could be, and olive oil, sorry, I meant to throw that in. All nuts are good, by the way. I often get the question,
are there some that
all
are better?
All of them are
there are
good.
a lot of different kinds of nuts.
Yeah, and they have different makeup of the amount of the healthy fats. I say eat what you like. I just recommend they're not sugared up or sweetened in other ways or salted.
Yeah, I was going to say just be careful about salt. So here's my little tip for salted nuts, because I've tried unsalted nuts and I find them to be really bland. So my solution is I shop in quantity. So I buy, like, if I get mixed nuts, I'll get a bag of salted, a bag of unsalted. I take out my big pot or my big bowl. I mix them all up together, and then I put them in individual jars.
And that's fine.
So that's my thing. I am getting, half of them are salted and half of them are not. And I figure that's better than, all salted.
Yes.
And after a while, you kind of get used to that too. And when I eat all salted, it's too salty.
Well, and there's always gradients. Mm-hmm. So right now you're 50-50.
Right.
Maybe in the future you could be 60-40.
Yeah, 2 bags of unsalted to 1 bag of salted.
Yeah. Yep. So nut butters are good for you. And I used to say peanut butter, but now you can get almond butter and walnut butter and this butter and that butter. But I do recommend the natural ones with the oil on the top. And one of the biggest mistakes people do is they pour the oil right down the drain.
Oh, God.
Yep.
And then it's like paste.
Well, it's like cement by the time you get to the last 3 inches. That fat that people have to stir in is the heart healthy stuff.
Yeah.
So you want that in there. And I know natural nut butters don't taste the same as Skippy and Jif and that stuff because they don't have added salt and they don't have added other ingredients. So yeah, it's a process to get used to.
Yep.
And you do have to stir it in. So I recommend, because I really hate getting peanut butter up my arm, I put it in a Tupperware, a flat Tupperware, stir it that way. You can keep it in the fridge so it doesn't separate. If it's too hard to spread when you take it out, put it on the counter for 15 minutes. I promise it will soften up.
Yeah.
And any of the nut butters will do. I'm personally allergic to tree nuts and peanuts, so I have soy nut butter.
Okay.
It's called Wow. But there's also sun nut butter, so it's sunflower oil.
Okay.
I mean, you can do all kinds of nut butters.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of olive oil and avocado oil. They're the least processed, better choices for heart-healthy fats. When it comes to fish, I know how much salmon costs right now at the store. I understand that it's, for some people, just too much. Yeah. Well, salmon's not the only heart-healthy fish. All fish have omega-3s.
Okay.
That's the type of fat in there that's heart-healthy. So you could have some cod, you can have some tilapia, but you can also eat white albacore tuna and compare the cost of a can of tuna versus salmon.
Yep. Yep.
If you're trying to eat healthy on a budget,
Yep.
eat your tuna.
There you go.
So fish is great. It's recommended that you have it at least 3 times a week. And but if you take that fish and you dip it in, eggs and milk and breadcrumbs or a batter and then deep fry it, you've completely diminished the heart healthy
It's so funny
impact.
as you're sitting here saying this, I'm thinking to myself, I got some cod 2 days ago that I put in the refrigerator because I was going to make it tonight.
Yeah.
I don't have a stove or an oven right now, so I'm thinking, oh yeah, and I can freeze it because it wasn't
Do you have a
previously
grill?
for outside. We do have an outside grill. I'm not sure that Gary's going to want to go out there. When, it's going to be a little
Because
bit chilly, and I don't know if it's going to be raining by tonight.
I've
But
made
yeah, you can.
like
Yeah,
a
we could
foil
grill.
envelope and tomato, onion, garlic with
Yeah, we've
little
done it
lemon.
on the grill
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that.
I don't know,
Well,
but it is cold
We'll
out.
see. It is.
Yeah.
It is getting a little
Yeah.
chilly out. Okay.
And another heart healthy fat that people tend to have an option to use, flaxseed and chia seeds. But there is a caveat with those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they go in your mouth whole, they will come out whole and they will do nothing for you except make you spend money.
Yeah.
So with the flaxseed, you can either have the oil, but I prefer people have the flaxseed ground up. So you buy it then as flaxseed meal or ground flaxseed. Bob's Red Mill has a good one.
Okay.
Cheapest at Ocean State Job Lot. I don't
Yep.
work for them, but I like to tell people where to save money eating healthy. A couple of tablespoons of ground flaxseed a day. I put it on yogurt and stir it in. I put it on oatmeal. I will put it applesauce.
Now, you're a dietitian, so I heard years ago that flaxseed also, if you are bound up, helps out.
Yeah.
So, but people need to know that because if you're not bound up and if you're prone in the other direction, you know.
Well, so good point. It does have some fiber, but in 2 tablespoons, you're probably I don't know off the top of my head, somewhere between probably 3 and 5 grams of fiber. It will be more soluble fiber, which helps people go to the bathroom better.
Yep.
If someone's having like diarrhea all the time, we're having a different conversation.
Okay.
It's a low fiber diet then.
Okay.
When it comes to chia seeds, again, they have to be handled so that you can get the benefit out of them. One of the key ways to do that is to soak them in liquid, at least for 20 to 30 minutes before you use them, because even if we chew really well, we can't break down what's in the outer shell and get the nutrient that's going to help lower the cholesterol. And we don't have the enzymes in our body to break that down. So chewing an enzymatic breakdown doesn't happen with chia seeds, so you have to let them soften up in water. And actually, the longer the better. Like I tell people, let them soak overnight. And then they end up, unfortunately, looking kind of like frog eggs. But
and what do you do with them? Like
you can stir them into applesauce, yogurt, oatmeal. You can mix them into other things like soups and stews. You can take flaxseed or chia seeds and make them a layer in a casserole. I mean, they don't have a lot of flavor.
Okay. I think that was part of where I'm always going with that. It's like, can you sneak them into things because they don't have a strong flavor and nobody's going to know anyway, but it's nutritionally beneficial.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
We got like a minute.
Oh. Okay. I think we're going to have to continue this to next time. But what we can talk about next time are bad fats. These are the ones that make LDL go higher, not lower.
Okay. Good. I think that's fair enough. We'll kind of do a general review of the good ones. And then as we're getting into the holiday season, what we need to kind of stay away from. It is 8 o'clock. You are listening to WSFD 107.5 FM on your dial and WCPC cable channel 15. I want to thank Jen DeFune for coming in this morning and talking to us about heart health and nutrition and LDLs and HDLs and DLs and all that other good stuff. Jen, again, is in private practice. Her office is located above it's in the G&E building, right? Above on the second floor. Really an awesome building right on Elm Street. Jen, phone number if people wanted to contact you? 579-5450.
And I do see adults with most health issues, and I can do it in person. If you can't get out of your home, I can do it remotely.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And remember to vote. We have a local election coming up, and the Westfield News did a great article, story today with all the different perspectives by all the candidates running for city council.
Oh, great.
So grab your copy of the Westfield News. Congratulations again to P. Cole, newly married, and Christy. And I will see you next week.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since